Ms. Carly Pearson.
Nobody wants taxes increased, including myself, but unfortunately we're in a catch-22 as Prince Rupertites because we want to be able to compete competitively in the economy, and we also don't want to pay taxes. But Prince Rupert needs to stay with the appeal. We need to appeal and attract people here. And something that is a really appealing factor is the safety and community programming for our children. And if they're jeopardized, I assure you that families aren't going to want to come here. So we need to focus on other ways to creatively look at different avenues. Have those avenues been ventured fully en masse? Because right now it is hurting our community and it's turning each other's against each other's, and it's not something that we want to do. So we need to think out of the box. We need to come together collectively as a community and counsel and think out of the box and go that route before we start going the more drastic route. Thank you.
Mr. Kinney.
Thank you. First of all, we have to get City Council to work as a team. And we're going to have our senior management work with us as a team, or nothing's going to work. We have to open our doors and let business in, as everybody says, work on reduction of our debt, and get our city back on track with no increase in taxes. We have to work with our First Nation people. They want to be involved, and they too have asked to come in. So let's let everybody have a chance, and then our city will go ahead if we work together. Thank you.
Mr. Holmes.
The question was, lousy revenue, how do you pay for infrastructure? I'm very bullish and confident about Rupert's future, but the revenues, taxes are lousy. Our houses are at very low prices. Major industry is just coming here now, but we're not realizing tax revenues from them. But I'm confident this will change, and let me tell you, when our house prices double, if the mill rate's the same, we're going to pay a lot more taxes. As far as prioritizing infrastructure projects, I have full confidence in city, public works and engineering staff to do that prioritizing. I want to be a politician, not an engineer. And I think so far in the last few years, city staff and workers have done a fabulous job dealing with infrastructure, given the money they've had to work with. Thank you.
Mr. McLean.
I think the answer to this question is dependent on how successful we are with the budget and how we handle it, and with the growth through our industry development. All of the city's assets, it doesn't matter what they are, City West, the ferry, regardless of what they are, if we own it, it has to be profitable. We're breaking even and creating a positive cash flow for the city. If the cash flow is negative, we really have to make a business decision on whether to keep it or not to keep it. And if we decide to keep it, we have to get real creative about making it profitable. Infrastructure covers a wide range of things. It's like from sewage to services, and we all know that that's a monstrous task. Cost control planning, I believe, is the best way to deal with infrastructure over a long period of time. It's not something we're going to solve overnight. So I wouldn't make any changes beyond current inflation rates, and I would really try to keep those taxes away from being increased. There has to be a better way to look at this infrastructure problem in asking the city engineers to jump on it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lewis.
I believe that when you have made every legitimate attempt to keep taxes down and still need to raise taxes, so be it. That's, you know, we've exhausted everything. We pay our fair share, so to speak. However, if inconsistencies exist between taxes for residential, business, and industry, then I will challenge or question why that exists. During these challenging economic times, we need to ensure that taxation is fair for all. It seems all too common that small business and residential taxes take the brunt of the taxes. Industry, and especially crown corporations, seem to elude paying their fair share. Industries that expand increase the eventual breakdown of infrastructure. They need to contribute their fair share to the maintenance and eventual replacement of old, worn out roads and water lines, so as to meet the future needs without placing the whole burden on local government. Thanks.
Ms. Moore. Maybe I should start charging a user fee for
Thank goodness this is our last question, eh? Okay. What I hear from people is that they want to see value for their money, and they want to know how it's being spent. We need to involve people in the budget process and find out what they are willing to pay for and what their priorities are. Our budget will need to be fiscally responsible and the ability to provide the services people want while being reflective of the community priorities. We then need to explore all avenues in terms of finding efficiencies and alternate sources of revenue instead of relying solely on tax increases. We must put pressure on all levels of government to ensure they provide more money to the communities to address these basic needs. Is there room for improvement? You bet there is. And I'm dedicated to making this happen by making sure that we have a management team in place that knows how to get the job done. Thank you.
Mr. Municipal.
This year has been a struggle for the council, and it was 3 years ago when you elected me as your mayor. Part of it would include monitor city facilities, functions, and services to ensure service levels are adequate and that energy and labor are utilized with efficiency. Lobby senior levels of government for grant and other funding to improve infrastructure. Discuss with council members reducing taxes. Encourage residents to speak out collectively, because tax adjustments may be made of between 1.5 and 2.5% possibly. Continue to sell properties for development that are accessible to the city's needs. You get the sales money, you get the property paying taxes annually, and you ensure development using restrictive covenants to create opportunities for employment. Pursue our $9 million former outstanding taxes through the divestiture of Watson Island. Discuss with council putting city-funded entities on a 5 or 6 day a week operation except emergency services, the airport ferry, and recreation facilities.
Ms. Rice.
What they said. This question stresses me out because I don't profess to have all the answers, and it's highly complex. And I'm not on council, and I feel like I would need to be there and dive in and work with staff and pour over books to actually come up with a really concrete answer. But two things that I would like to say are that funding programs often require municipalities to match half the funds to the federal government. And we in Prince Rupert can't even come up with half the funds. So for cash-strapped communities such as us, much-needed infrastructure projects go unbuilt, while communities that have a lot of money, like Vancouver, have shovel-ready projects that get off the ground. This system is archaic, it doesn't work, it benefits only large cities, and it leaves smaller ones such as ours out in the cold. So I suggest that we work together with other small and rural communities, and we lobby the government for a new system, because it's unfair. I think, are you serious?
Mr. Kirk.
Well, once again, I have to agree here. It's a strange thing, infrastructure, that we've been talking about for the last 15, 20 minutes. You know, all of a sudden, I wonder where we've been over 45 to 50 years, where we should have been, looking after our resources such as water, the inner things that are problems with breaking down of pipes and whatever. All of a sudden, we're faced with a gigantic problem. I think what we have to do is say, fine, we can't increase our taxes, but we can turn around and go to the areas where we can find grants. If Port Edward can find them, we should be able to find them ourselves. We cannot, I can't really see where us as taxpayers can go any further in a tax base that we're basically, we don't have any more money. Where are we going to get the money? Well, boy, oh boy, we've got a problem. I think we'll have to...
Thank you, Mr. Curry.
Thank you.
Now we'll go to questions that have been submitted by you, our audience, in the hallway earlier this evening. And for the first of those questions, to Mr. Baker? Why not?
Candace, there were actually quite a few questions that did deal with the subject of youth. This one captured my particular attention. How do you plan to support upcoming and pre-existing youth entrepreneurship?
I'll give you 30 seconds to ponder. And first to the podium, Ms. Rice.
30 seconds.
A reminder, 1 minute.
I'm just running the question. I think some of the suggestions I mentioned earlier, utilizing this great facility that we have here, a stage program or a theater program, tapping into apprenticeships, telecommunications apprenticeship program, training center with City West. We could mandate that certain businesses, when they set up industry here, that they actually have to take local youth apprentices. That's about it.
Good.
On the spot.
Thank you. Mr. Kinney.
Thank you. Our youth is very, very important. And, you know, we have to start changing things now. We have to go back to our vocational training. When they reach grade 10, most of the people, or the teachers or the schools know they're not going to be a doctor or a lawyer. Let's get some vocational programs going, train them for what's going to be coming in our city. We need them and we want them to stay. And we have to offer all the recreation facilities that we possibly can, not turn them away. Thank you.
Mr. Municipal.
The city could use this as an opportunity to partner with the Chamber of Commerce and other businesses in town to offer a mentor access program. Through the Prince Rupert Port Edward Economic Development Corporation, there's a business startup plan. There's opportunities through various entities to fund small business and to get people up and working that are truly entrepreneurs in the community. There's also opportunities to partner with Northwest Community College. Thank you.
Ms. Thorkelson.
I think that it doesn't matter whether you're training a shop steward for the plant or somebody who's going to take on an executive role because we're all retiring, or whether you're training somebody from an entrepreneur. What we should be doing in our community is trying to engage youth in things like politics, political parties, trying to do the kind of thing that I saw done during Enbridge, and the kind of thing that's being done down in Vancouver with the 1 and the 99% campaigns. I think that the Nisga'a and other First Nations have put on leadership programs that have been absolutely excellent, and we can see the difference in our youth in the plants when they've taken one of those programs, how they're able to speak up for themselves and up for others. So I think those are the kinds of things council can engage in by promoting the youth of the Politically Aware Youth Award that happened at the City College, and that type of thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holmes.
Some people say entrepreneurs are born and not made. And the question's out there. But youth entrepreneurship, our high schools do not teach our children any financial knowledge. You come out of there and you don't know a darn thing about business or balancing of your books, how much rent you pay, your telephone costs. So entrepreneurship is a tough thing to teach, but we should encourage high schools to teach entrepreneurship. And a vibrant, healthy city with lots of opportunities will make young people innovative to take advantage of those opportunities and become young entrepreneurs. A dead, dying city and your youth leaves, so you're not going to have any young entrepreneurs. So the answer is vibrant city, better education at an early level, and we'll have more youth entrepreneurs. We'll have more entrepreneurs, period.
Thank you. Ms. Ashley.
Well, it's probably appropriate that I just follow Mr. Holmes. I happen to disagree with a couple of his suppositions. First of all, I do agree that there's room for improvement in the education system. We need more apprenticeships. We need to work with our businesses and our industry, and we need to try and find connections for youth so that they stay in our community and they have jobs. When they have interest in developing businesses, we need to find those connections and find out, okay, what are the services that are needed and help guide them in terms of creating a business that actually is going to work. And just for information, there are entrepreneurship programs at Charles Hayes. There's an Aboriginal entrepreneurship there. And there is training that's happening in the schools, but absolutely we can do a better job of that, and I think we just need to work with our partners and try to find ways to make that happen.
Thank you. Ms. Garrow.
Thank you. I was a youth entrepreneur when I was 21 years old. I started my own business, and had I known during that time that there was a outfit called Community Futures in the Pacific Northwest, I probably would have gone to them and got some kind of training or funding, which would have helped immensely. So that program's in place. The Chamber of Commerce has a Rising Star program, which has been quite successful for 3 or 4 years now. The other thing I would like to see for young youth coming out of high school and are still in high school, we have a shortage of tradespeople. We have a lot of entrepreneurial tradespeople in town who are tradespeople. They're not business people. They don't want to fill out forms for apprenticeship applications. So if we had some kind of agency that could do that for these tradespeople and bring those young youth in and apprentice with these tradespeople, I think that would benefit them greatly, and maybe they'd start their own businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk.
Yes, education. That's a great deal. You know, it seems that in the European countries they are able to segregate the ones that are going to become doctors and the ones that are going to be tradesmen. I think we're missing the boat. We should be training our youth to get a trade. We're going to be suffering here. If things start to go ahead here, are we going to have enough welders? Are we going to have pipe fitters? Are we going to have any kind of trade, carpenters or whatever? It's going to happen. Are we going to be ready? Well, we've got to start from the base, I believe. Get our younger people involved, train them, have some opportunity for them to go to. I mean, if we've got areas of bringing industry in here, they're going to man a certain amount of tradespeople. We have to have them. And by golly, we have to go to that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Valley.
One that I understand this time. There's a lot of businesses, you know, we would love to have people apprentice for us. And one thing we know is, through the years, is these kids that do get their apprentice, they don't realize that they've won the lottery. You know, they're able to get an education through work. But as a business, it's hard to afford that. We need to work with places like Tricorp, Community Futures, EI, Haggis Street, the Career Resource. Those are the people that can find funding that we can train these kids. And with the aging workforce, that's what we need. And it's such a great thing for this community to make it a better place. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Carly Pearson.
First and foremost, I think that we need to look at skill building rather than just entrepreneurship. Sure, our kids don't wake up and they're not entrepreneurs. That's not the way it goes. But we need to look at leadership skills and developing other skills like preventative skills as well that could essentially help myself, who I used to be a youth at one time. Well, 4 years ago. And I got an entrepreneur award. However, I had great mentors, I had great leadership, and I had great role models. But I was also able to participate in prevention workshops, such as bullying and suicide prevention. So we need to build these leaders. We can't just expect them to be entrepreneurs. So let's focus on that first.
Mr. McLean.
I'm not sure the question was answered by any of these folks. The question to me means that youth entrepreneurs want to be out there forming businesses and making money. And what could I as a councillor do to encourage and assist that? I think as a councillor, the best thing I could do to encourage and assist that, is to have you demonstrate to every one of us up here the power of your vote. Every youth that's old enough and can qualify should come out and vote and let us know exactly where your voice is. I would then offer as a councillor to stand on council as your representative. Form your committees, tell me what you need, and I'll do my best to see that City Hall doesn't get in your way. I hope that answers the question better than what we're getting here. I don't think you need to be farmed out to other organizations. I think as a councillor, I would want to be interested in it as a community. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. I basically worked with youth all my life in the sporting field, and to get these kids to come out, you have to entice them, you have to get them to want to be there. And simply to say that we can set up this and that and everything else for them is easy to say, but we have to initiate it. We have to start it. And to have somebody play basketball, you got to get them there and play basketball. To get them a scholarship, we have to find out what they want as far as scholarships. Boards struck up, youth boards. Bring them there, go with them, and lead them. Somebody talked about leadership qualities. Well, we have to instill that into them. We have to teach them that. Once they learn to come, they learn that there are avenues, scholarships through industry. Industry needs to step up. Local businesses need to step up. Common Chamber of Commerce and everybody else, even this theatre, needs to step up and have things available for our youth and lead them there. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bedard.
You know, our city should be a youthful city. Not all of us are baby boomers, but we're all sort of climbing up there. And we really do need to train the people that are going to come behind us. I think that we need to inform our community and our youth about the potentials. When I attended a graduation ceremony, I was distressed when I saw the lack of graduates coming down and getting their diploma. And I spoke to some parents and they said, well, you know, my kids don't complete grade 12 because they don't see the hope of grade 12. They don't see the hope in our community. So we as adults, as taxpayers, as parents, we need to instill that hope in our community, get our children to complete grade 12, go on to trades or whatever profession they so choose. The city also needs to take an active role and tap into funding around internships so that we have older professionals interning other professionals so our city manages as well and can continue in public works. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Ms. Morhart.
The youth are our future here, and I believe that we need to do a lot more. And connecting not only with community futures, as someone had already mentioned, but the college and educating them, but most of all, working with the families and their support system in order for the youth to survive and actually take that risk of a business. They need that support and also mentors, and the leadership is correct. And it's all got to be brought together and for them to succeed and also to show us what they're willing to offer, because they will give back. Our young people are here and they're very important for our community, and I would like to see a lot more of them and their input at council as well, from our high school as well as our college and university. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question to Ms. Mary Barber.
There are quite a few questions in regards to crime rate and whether it's a safe community or not. So basically the question here is how are you going to help lower the crime rate and provide a safe and secure and supportive community for parents to raise their children?
Thirty seconds. Ms. Garrow.
Could you read the question again, please, Mary?
I can how are you going to help lower the crime rate and provide a safe, secure, and supportive city for parents to raise their children?
Well, as the parent of a teenager who just graduated high school, it's very challenging. As a parent, we don't have too many rights. Children have a lot of rights. It's difficult. I'm not really sure what the answer is. It's a matter of maybe having some community organizations where parents can get together and share ideas and thoughts on how to keep our kids safe in our community. I know by talking to a lot of parents, we all share the same concerns. The police do what they can. Again, our legal system doesn't really support parenting of our children. And as for the criminal code out there, kids know they just get a slap on the hand and they can just keep doing what they do till they're a certain age. So it's very frustrating, and I don't have all the answers. But I think some dialogue with the community might be something that parents can get together and talk about.
Programs come into play.
Thank you. Mr. Rupert.
Well, I think basically we have to look at the crime rate in Prince Rupert. It seems to be steadily growing. Maybe perhaps if we had jobs that they could look forward to. I think there was a comment made about, well, okay, if we delegate something to the children, give them the responsibility. I believe that's more getting ahead than going backwards. Let them have the responsibility. I think by doing that, you're going to eliminate a lot of problems. Basically, if we have jobs, I think the crime rate in Prince Rupert would settle down. Unfortunately, we are a port, and things do happen in the port that, in every port city, we have that problem. I think the problem gets less as we have more people and industry that goes with it. Quite frankly, if you are in the same crime 2 or 3 times, I think it's the old thing. 3 strikes, you're out. You've got to go somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore.
I would like to see council work with, or even have some kind of workshop that would also be available to the public with regards to what are probation officers. We've got some adult as well as youth, but we only have 1 youth probation officer, and I would like to see a little bit more if we can rally for that from council and basically work to try to work together even with the Aboriginal Restorative Justice as well, because they've got programs and we need to make sure that we've got something that these young people can actually do and give them hope. And as for adults, yeah, we do need jobs, and it's our responsibility to try to help those find jobs and also to, as council, work together to get industry back here. Thank you.
Ms. Torkelson.
Well, I'm not sure that our crime rate actually is going up. And I'm not sure why anybody would actually concentrate in this question as on youth. Last council, when I was running for council, the question was on vandalism, and it probably is clear that youth do more vandalism, but I think it's very clear that adults perpetrate more violent crimes. I think that that we need employment. That's one thing. Busy people don't usually have as much time to be criminals as people who are unemployed, and we've had double-digit unemployment at least for 15 years. We need the late-night program we had with the Civic Center and the Hub this year took 20 kids off the street in the evenings if we're worried about where the kids are running around. I think those are a couple of comments.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
I agree with Joy. I think that our youth have a great value in contributing to the future. I believe we need to engage them in the discussions. We need to engage them in the decision making. And then we need to engage them in the projects. And the project is the city. We sometimes forget that these young people have been thinking about their future. We may not think they do, but they're thinking about the future. And if we can tap into that knowledge and that desire to be successful citizens, we've gone a long way as a city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holmes.
The question was, how do you lower the crime rate? Well, wow. I think you have to start from the very beginning, from the womb. We have to ensure that young mothers know how to provide proper nutrition to their kids, provide a stable family life. You know, we have a lot of kids running around that suffer from fetal alcohol syndrome. So we have to start at the very beginning, and all of society. I mean, Rupert City Council is not going to do this. We have to do this all together as a civilized nation. We have to address these problems. As far as policing crime, I'm not against perhaps some closed-circuit TV systems in the downtown core. But I'm not too keen on hiring more policemen. Again, it's all about prevention, and you have to focus on early childhood development to stop people from not having an opportunity to make a good living, so they don't have to turn to crime.
Thank you. Ms. Ashley.